Praise the Lord. I hope you are well from where you are. And so am I. I want to make a comment about what has been happening or what just happened a few weeks ago in Venezuela. The earthquake that has really destroyed so many lives and properties. And probably some of you are like, I never thought earthquakes should be like that. And it's true, those are not just natural earthquakes, natural destruction. Nature is not as destructive as people think unless it's motivated by the devil, or the devil is behind it. So I remember last time I actually published a video about weaponization of tsunami, where I talked about engineered tsunami, and in that vision I explained a lot, and I also link the video in the description below so that you can go back and watch it. I'll also part of the video, you will see the part of the video at the end of this video, together with a documentary which I want you to watch. So what you saw in Venezuela, those earthquakes, they're not natural earthquakes. I believe it's people, certain individuals, certain groups of people who just use military equipment, military weapon to weaponize the earth tectonic plates. I'll simply call it the weaponization of the earth's crust. You know, the earth where we are seated on, the earth is sitting on top of different plates. Different continents, they sit on different plates. That's basic geography for those who have read geography. And I believe most of the people have read geography. I believe that there is induced seismic activities, not only in the oceanic plates, but also the crust on which the land mass sits on. In my previous video, when I was talking about the weaponization of tsunami, I really explained in details about the engineering of tectonic plates to destroy or to cause mass tsunami, where people already know, it's known, places where there are faults, they know this place is already weak. So if you just plant a nuclear bomb there or any kind of weapon, it will immediately kind of weaken that fault line further, and therefore triggering seismic activity. And then people will think, oh, it's just a tsunami, it's not a tsunami. And in the vision I saw tsunamis which were engineered to happen around America, around that continent, not only the USA. You see, the America is big. It's from, you have the Northern America, you have the Central, and then you have South America. Around that region, the entire region, especially places of great interest, places with massive minerals deposits, places which have been marked for what we call smart cities. So those are certain activities which will be happening, or they are planned to happen. And in the process of that happening, because there's a lot of destruction of property, displacement of people, that people will come in and take over that land. And you know, those who are the globalists, people who have the 2030 agenda, the 2045 agenda, and so forth and so forth. Those agendas, they were set for a reason, to take over the world. And their goal is to take more than 90% of the land masses. By 2030, they want to take more than 30% to just rob land from people without even them knowing, you know. You see, somebody who just lost everything in an earthquake, you know, they lost their house, they're desperate for money. So it is easy for them to sell the property, the little property they have. It's easy for them to sell it, you know, in times of devastation. And there is where the globalists take advantage of the masses without even them knowing. So I don't want to make this video long, because I want you to watch a documentary which explains everything. It breaks down everything so clearly, and I hope it will bless you. Isaiah chapter 9 verse 7 declares, of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end. We proclaim and declare that the influence of the gospel of Jesus Christ is taking over the nations. Yes, the nations are flooded with the gospel and the righteousness of God, his peace, his grace, his mercy, his kindness, his love, because that is his will. Yes, and the gospel of Jesus Christ is having free course all over the nations. So that's what I wanted to say concerning Venezuela. it's not a natural disaster. That's what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with God. You know, in insurance policy, they say these are acts of God. And you know, the surprising thing is that all of those buildings, even if they were insured, the insurance companies do not pay for anything. They will say it was an act of God, but it was not an act of God. It was a planned act of man. Just do your own research. What is valuable about the region that experienced this earthquake? Are there mineral deposits? Venezuela has one of the largest oil reserves, you know that. And that region also has very key minerals for computing, you know, which will be used for computing purposes, electronic manufacturing, and so forth. And I believe the forces behind this, the globalist forces behind this, together with their military capabilities, because they do it in such a way that they can't be traced back. You can also search about do a search about DEW. DEW is directed weapons. DEW, directed energy weapons. That's a subject you should look into. That's what they use most of the time to cause the unnatural forest fires, and then they say somebody lit the fire, but it's a joke. These fires are not natural. The tsunamis are not natural. The weather is not natural. I know this is not the day to discuss all that. I just wanted you to prepare you for the documentary I want you to watch. I think I will find a day where I'll discuss all of these things with evidence. I bring evidence, and then maybe we discuss all of these things. We break them down one at a time, to the glory of the Lord. So the Church of Jesus Christ should not be asleep. We are awake. We are not of them that sleep. We are not. So Jesus said, pray and watch. Pray, watch and pray. Yeah, that is watch and pray. And so we watch and we pray. We are not ignorant of the enemy's devices. So I hope this documentary will bless you. It's from the Love World team. My Father Pastor Chris. So please watch it, and may the Lord bless you. At the end of it, I'll also play part of the previous video on the engineering of tsunami. So may God bless you.
War is no longer fought with standing armies. In the 21st century, the most devastating weapons are not missiles, but the very elements of the earth itself.
Terror.
By weaponizing nature, manufacturing floods, engineering firestorms, manipulating tectonic plates.
There is no weather disaster that is natural, especially what is happening in America and a whole many parts of the world. They want it to happen that way.
These private syndicates orchestrate absolute anarchy.
And these are Bill Gates Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, Ford Foundation, WHO, and the CIA. These are all involved.
In 2010, the Rockefeller Foundation published Scenario for the Future of Technology and International Development, wherein they outlined 4 different ways of achieving their goals, which they wrote, once crossed, these axes create a matrix of 4 very different futures. In 2020, they crossed the axis into the lockstep matrix. In 2022, at their 15th Convention on Biological Diversity, COP15, the UN increased the amount of land they plan to steal to 30% by 2030. Their 30 by 30 plan will require the displacement of millions.
Phase 1 is displacement. Through highly advanced atmospheric modification, micro-targeted ionospheric heating can stall weather systems, turning a standard seasonal rain into an apocalyptic deluge.
Cloud seeding is a type of weather modification. It will aim to change the amount of type of precipitation that falls from clouds by dispersing substances into the air that serve as cloud condensation or ice nuclei, which alter, here's a very interesting fact, it alters the microphysical processes within the cloud.
The most amazing thing is that that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine, and in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain.
13,100 micrograms per liter of aluminum in the rain in 2015. Normally, it should be zero.
It's raining! That's unbelievable!
They don't just create rain, they park a flood over a nation's vital economic hub until their infrastructure completely dissolves. The hidden benefit of these floods is economic asset stripping.
A lot of the crises you have in the world have been created, masterminded by those who benefit from them.
Southeast Asia serves as a crucial hub for essential minerals, holding vast reserves of copper and nickel. In Southeast Asia, manufactured deluges paralyze local oversight, forcing governments into predatory debt loops. As the state buckles, the syndicate steps in to seize massive, unmined deposits of copper and nickel.
The Philippines has a significant role in this transition process because it has a vast reserves of copper, which is very important in the electric vehicles.
Copper is a highly prized metal. As the world embraces electric vehicles, data centers for AI, and renewable energy systems, demand is on the rise. Each electric vehicle, for example, uses up to 4 times more copper than a conventional car, making it one of the most indispensable materials in a decarbonized economy. But globally, supply is struggling to keep up, making Tampakan one of the most closely watched undeveloped copper projects in the region.
To power the massive electricity grids feeding AI data centers and the ultra-conductive cables linking neural networks, the world requires more copper than humanity has ever mined. By flooding the nations that own it, the syndicate corners the market on AI expansion.
Where man is giving his brain over to machines.
Where water doesn't drown a nation's resolve, fire incinerates it. In the Amazon basin, engineered wildfires serve an entirely corporate agenda, forcefully clearing indigenous populations from vast land assets.
Wildfire outbreaks in Brazil have reached record levels, particularly in regions such as the Amazon, Pantanal, and the southeast of the country. Environment Minister Marina Silva commented on the record rise in fires. This is an unusual situation. In just 1 week, or practically in 2 days, several municipalities caught fire simultaneously, which doesn't fit into our years of experience in dealing with fires.
These are organizations and governments who are powerful enough to do this and have avoided detection. And because they avoid detection, they have so far avoided attribution and, of course, retribution.
And while we know for a fact that many of these fires are being started manually, including by illegal aliens, and while many people believe that directed energy weapons could be involved,
self-replicating smart nanorobots, and these don't require human agents to control them. So they use materials, existing materials in its environment, to reignite massive explosions.
This newly released footage shows the Dragonfire laser-directed energy weapon system in action. It destroys targets with an intense beam of light and has pinpoint accuracy. It's able to hit something the size of a £1 coin from a kilometre away.
These strange fires are also seen in different parts of the world.
The western districts of Victoria, Australia, where they've got consistent fires in the same place, as from the 17th of December, going into the satellite, there's the view of the square signature in the centre. There it is, really clear. Keep your eye on the spot. There's a whole lot of chem cloud with frequencies. And poof, there's a fire. And away the fire goes and gets bigger and bigger.
The fires we have seen in recent years, including the fires in Texas, are very different from what we have seen in the past. They often selectively spare the trees while burning the infrastructure into a powdery ash footprint.
These lands have been reset and reclaimed to make way for their smart prison.
And the common theme with these cities is that They will be wrecked by natural disasters such as floods, wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, or any other event. And only then can they be built up again to be turned into open-air prisons. So they are being destroyed, these cities, to be built back better.
There is a clear motive. The United Nations have openly announced plans to clear the lands of people and move them into smart cities. Starting with Agenda 21, a map which shows designated off-limits to human areas lined up with the 2008 California fires. 9 years ago, planning was announced for smart cities to be built on Maui, but the most coveted property was owned by natives whose families have lived there for generations prior to Hawaii being annexed by the U.S. In August of 2023, Maui was devastated by highly suspicious fires. Roads were blocked off to keep residents from escaping, and the U.S. government gave survivors a mere $700 per household. A conference in April of 2023 met in Viña del Mar, Chile, to provide the municipality with support in the transfer of knowledge about the theory and solutions of smart cities. A year later, Viña del Mar was ravaged by fires. It was blamed on climate change, and in 2022, Amarillo, Texas was reported to be the #1 area under the radar for the Texas housing market under the United Nations Vision 2045. On February 26th, the biggest fire of Texas broke out in this same area. Vision 2045 is the latest iteration of the United Nations plan to seize control of 90% of the land and limit people to 15-minute cities.
You have not seen the likes of what they want to do. And don't you think about the little smart city thing that some designers are putting up there? And no. That's just the cover-up. This is Satan's evil plan.
For years, the weaponization of the Earth's crust was dismissed as fringe paranoia. 6 significant earthquakes occurred in a rapid 48-hour window struck Japan, Papua New Guinea, Venezuela, the United States, and the Philippines.
This is really cruel.
Before the Venezuela earthquake struck, multiple laser beams scanned the ground.
Overnight, urgent search and rescue in Venezuela.
2 massive seismic shocks struck north-central Venezuela within a mere 39 seconds of each other, paralyzing the country in the strongest seismic event it had seen in over a century. It is not normal, in fact, it is rare for major earthquakes to hit back-to-back, because the first earthquake usually acts as a pressure relief valve.
Dr. Agnew experienced the power of ELF waves firsthand back in the 1980s. He was hired by an energy company to locate oil and gas using the same kind of ELF waves at much lower frequencies to carry out his search. It's a process called Earth tomography. But during one particular incident, Dr. Agnew believes his use of HAARP-like ELF waves accidentally triggered an earthquake. Dr. Agnew demonstrates how he may have triggered the quake.
This is a scale model of what the area looked like in Oregon when we scanned for oil and gas in 1987. This strata right here represents the megathrust area underneath the ground. The rock represents the potential energy set up in the ground from a tectonic stress. What we're going to do is introduce ELF waves and demonstrate that it can in fact trigger an earthquake.
In this case, Dr. Agnew is using a stereo speaker to produce the ELF waves needed for his demonstration.
ELF waves, extremely low frequency waves, are just like a subwoofer. In your car, you can actually feel the vibrations through your body. ELF waves are the same way. They vibrate the earth, and at right resonant frequencies, they can have devastating effects.
When the speaker is activated, ELF waves begin to emit. Tiny vibrations in the sand are detected. Then a few seconds later, the rock representing a fault line shifts.
As you can see, in a very few seconds, the resonant frequency built up in our model released the potential energy in the rock. That concussion, on a real scale, would have been felt for 100 miles. These conditions are already set up in the ground. All it takes is the activation energy to make the release happen. This is a small scale, and we're only using 30 watts in this scale.
When HAARP's broadcast array in Gakona, Alaska sends pulses of ELF waves into the ionosphere, the waves get reflected back down and pass through the earth and ocean. If 3.6 million watts of ELF waves were purposely or accidentally aimed at an already unstable fault line, it could, according to Dr. Agnew, cause a tremendous earthquake.
When the massive earthquake occurred in Turkey in 2023, the ionosphere was heated up, causing a bizarre formation in the sky.
Now, what you're seeing on the screen right now is an actual image of what occurred over Venezuela before and during the earthquake.
By triggering a massive humanitarian crisis that left over 1,700 dead and thousands missing overnight. The precise hidden benefit of the Venezuelan tectonic strike is unparalleled resource dominance for the upcoming Silicon Age.
Silicon are used in the construction of semiconductors, processors, and memory chips, which are the backbone of AI hardware.
Venezuela sits on the largest proven oil reserves on Earth, over 300 billion barrels in the Orinoco oil belt, providing immediate energy sovereignty to whoever controls it. But the deeper heist lies in the Orinoco mining arc. Beneath the rubble of the earthquake sits the world's most concentrated reserve of coltan, the black gold of the digital age.
That's exactly needed to make AI chips, batteries, and data centers. Venezuela has the second largest rare earth deposits in the Americas. This isn't an oil game, it's a tech ownership play. You can't build AI without chips. You can't build chips without these minerals. Whoever controls the material controls the future of AI. The AI race just became a resource race.
Without Venezuelan coltan, the computing power required to evolve artificial intelligence grinds to a halt. By cracking the Earth's crust, the syndicate cracked open a monopoly on the mind of the future.
Digital embassies where host countries build data centers in their citizens' backyards for foreign nations to access is a concept championed by the WEF, the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change, and other unelected globalist entities. So for them, digital embassies justify the resource-sucking, land-grabbing, energy-consuming, and water-depleting construction of thousands of AI data centers. That's horrible. Now, with these data centers, they are building a global digital gulag of total surveillance and control. This digital control grid is to extend beyond sovereign borders, further dividing the geopolitical powers between rich and powerful nations and poor and underdeveloped states. So what else will AI power do? What else will AI power be? Why robots, of course?
And oftentimes people are feeling like the infrastructure is what's holding things up. I personally think there's a new way to be thinking about this, where you have distributed energy resources, right? So what if instead of going onto the grid, right, and straining it, you're actually able to distribute the energy through batteries, through long duration energy storage and so forth. And then you can have situations where your car could be bidirectionally charging and bringing it back. An AI center could actually be a flexible place to bring energy back into the grid. So I think those kind of things are extremely important.
This is now at the point where the Lord is going to react. Because to dispossess people like that gets into the ears of the Lord. Their cry.
And he spoke a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray, and not to faint. Luke 18 verse 1. We will not back down in our prayers. We will persist in making power available to counter their plans for climate terrorism.
Their agenda will fail. Will fail. As it is failing already.
Hi everyone, praise the Lord Jesus. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I have something interesting to share. There are two visions actually, and I hope they'll bless you. So the first vision was on 9th July 2025, this very year. It's about an attack, not necessarily a country attacking another country, but it's an engineered tsunami. So I'm seeing tsunamis which are engineered. They are not natural. I mean, they say natural occurring tsunami due to seismic tones. We know that when the earth plates meet together or they crash into each other, they cause seismic activity. This is different. So in the vision, I was trying to warn people overcoming danger, but they never seemed to listen. They ignored it and it was late. So I was standing close to a beach, actually on a beach, and I could see something in the water. And then I was trying to stare at it, and I started seeing the form of the thing. It was actually a submarine. I would say it's a black submarine, but you say, oh, they're always black. Okay, so it was a submarine. From a distance, it seemed so small, but as it approached the shores, it seemed clear. I could see it's a submarine, and I knew in my spirit it was a Chinese submarine in the USA. A Chinese submarine in the USA, one of the territories of the USA. So I saw that submarine, and I tried to call for some attention, for people to look into what I was seeing, but nobody was paying attention to it. So I observed something strange with the submarine. I saw the submarine releasing some what you call missiles. It should release missiles, bombs out of it. It was releasing bombs, but it was not targeting a specific, not targeting a specific object like a ship in that time or a land. No, the submarine was actually throwing or shooting towards the deep ocean. It was, remember, the submarine is close to the shores, but it's actually sending the missiles. I don't know if they call them missiles. I would just say let's call them bombs, sending them into the deep ocean. So I was wondering, what are they doing this? And I realized they were actually recreating seismic activity, like an artificial seismic activity in the deep ocean. And you know what that does? It creates massive waves from the deep ocean that now comes to the shores of the ocean like a tsunami. So that's what they were doing. So once I saw the submarine, I rushed to the authority. There was this police officers in around the beach. So I went to him to try to explain to him what I've seen. I've seen the submarine. It is in the ocean. It's close to the shores, even though the shores were somewhat deep. So I was trying to tell him. And then there was something funny about the police officer. He called me and it told me to follow him so that we may go to tell the rest of the officers. But I realized he wasn't actually taking me to the rest of the officers. He was taking me to an excluded place so that he may harm me, to silence me. Actually wanted to silence me. And I knew this one was a spy. Either I was a spy or was bought by the enemy. So we have some of the people in the government, some of people, I can say government employees, who are actually working against their own nation, working with the enemy. So this is what was happening. Actually, that's what you're symbolizing. This person was working against his own nation. They have been bought. These are people who are selfish enough to sell their own nation for nothing, just for pennies. So that's what's happening. So that was the past vision, which is artificial tsunamis, creating that effect of tectonic plates meeting each other through using submarine bombs. Now trying to create that artificial seismic activity in the deep ocean to create massive tsunami. And in the very same vision, I saw tsunamis, massive tsunami, coming into coastline, into coastal cities, washing away cities, massive tsunami, destroying so much property. And in the same scene, I could see myself helping people in the midst of the tsunami to vacate. There was so much damage, so much life was lost, so much life. I can't quantify how much. It's a lot of life, property. I could see houses washed away, massive houses washed away, people's life destroyed. So the second vision was on 10th July, the same month, which is actually this month, 2025. Okay, so it was that morning I had a vision in which I was speaking in tongues with a certain man close to the road. So there was this person, I was speaking in tongues. I was standing on the road, but I was speaking in tongues. And then there were these people like traffic officers. They was just around close to the road. They were standing there, just standing close to the road. And then there was this old government building. It was just adjacent to where I was. I could see it. Actually, I could see it where it was just close to where I was. And something was strange. The building seemed to have been built during the World War II or maybe World War I, just during times of war. So as I was looking at it, it was a whole building which had underground stories. I think it was a few stories high, and then but it had underground stories, many of them underground stories. So what I could see in the vision, I could see the building was being used actually by Chinese. It was invaded. It was within. It seems like it was within the United States of America, but the building was used by Chinese people. They had taken over the Chinese, so they used it to launch bombs from the building. So what I could see, it says somehow the building was connected to the ocean. The underground massive structure was connected to the ocean. There were so many tunnels that were connected to the ocean. That's why I'm saying it was built like during the wars. They could send bombs, missiles through those underground tunnels, which were directly connected to the ocean. And all of a sudden, I saw so many missiles released of all sizes, very small ones, massive ones, the same way as I saw with the submarine, but this one were different. Well, all types of missiles released into the ocean, and then so as I was seeing this, I tried to warn. So it's a vision within a vision. I'm seeing this while I'm in the vision, but I'm seeing what is happening in the building while I'm on the road speaking tongues. So I'm trying to warn the polices, which are the watchmen. You know, in the Bible, watchmen, they're supposed to warn the people of dangers. So I'm trying to warn the police, who are representing the watchmen, of what is happening. And they never listened. It seems they didn't really care. And it surprised me. And then the surprising thing is, later on, I realized there was an oil spillage. What? Oil spillage? Yes. Some of the missiles actually targeted some vessels. And one of the vessels that was targeted was an oil carrier, massive oil carrier. And I saw this oil spillage over in the oceans. And it caused devastating consequences. So many fish died for no reason. I could see fish. The fishes, they were trying to get oxygen, you know, the layer of water that is already covered in oil. So it means the oil, the oxygen in the water is already depleted. They could not breathe well. I could see fish trying to jump out of water to just get some air, some oxygen. And so many of them, they died. Is the equivalent of you just choking in. Have you ever seen a man choking? That's how I could see the fish. They died very terrible. Massive fish, whales, talk of whales, sharks, fishes of all kinds I've ever seen. Octopuses, massive of them, and very many things that were happening. So by the end of the day, these bombs were used to create all sorts of havoc in the oceans. And why is China doing this? And I believe it's because of the trade wars that are happening. So China is really desperate right now. It's very desperate, and they'll do anything to create havoc. They'll do anything to disrupt the world. That's what I believe. The dragon will do anything. It had some sort of hold over the nation, and that is being broken. And its control over the nation is being broken. It's getting very angry. The dragon is getting very angry. So it's why they'll be trying to do some of these things. It may not necessarily be USA. It could also be USA or an ally of USA. So kind of they're trying to get USA involved in the war. I mean, in a war somehow. So when you see some of these things, China is behind it. The first dream, China and the submarines attack. The second dream, I titled it China attack and marine destruction, because there was involvement of life destruction, but not human. This round, it was a lot of more of animal. I also believe humans will be affected, but the second one I saw, it's nature. Nature will be destroyed as a result of this people's destruction. So pray about this, and as a watchman, do not take this lightly. Pray about it, and I encourage you, pray more in the spirit. And praying in the spirit is praying in tongues. Praying in the spirit is praying in tongues. You forgive me for the video quality. Actually, I have a problem with my phone. It's a very old one. I'm trusting God for a new one. If I could get a camera, I would really appreciate. So if you are able to donate, I really appreciate. You'll find all the information on the description below. I would appreciate it getting a new camera or a phone. And so God bless you. As a watchman, pray for the nation. Pray for the nation. I encourage you all to pray as the Bible encourages in 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 1. It says, above all, let supplication, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all men. And then it begins with kings and all those who are in authority, so that you may lead a quiet and peaceful life. And ask people, do you really want to live a peaceable life? They say, yes, I want to live a peaceable life. This then is the way to pray. Pray for your nation. Pray for the leaders of the nations, not only your country, but all the nation, all men. For verse 4 it says, for it is the will of God that all men will come to the knowledge of God. It is his will to come to the knowledge of Christ. Pray for the nations as a watchman. God bless you. Amen. Thank you for your time.